Anyone else thought this week would just be, a little bit of collab news and chill? No, just me? Okay. Well. It's another Tuesday, which meant that, of course, Bushiroad did their live stream announcing all the different kinds of news. And, they said they're gonna just be basically doing like token Rambo and monster strike stuff, so everyone really expected nothing much at all, to be honest. And we sort of knew they'd do something for Zero, maybe reveal a card or two, but boy oh boy, this time around, Jesus Christ. Today we're going to be speed running. We're going to be going through these things very quickly. Usually, I like to ramble on, talk about like, effects, like this is good, this is bad, this can be played in this can be played in that. We're going to try to cut that out as much as possible today because there is just way too much to talk about, and I feel like I'm going to like forget something if I don't go through it quickly. So first things first, let's get through the actual first overdress news that we got last week, which was the remaining festival collection reveals. So for Brandgate, we got the Aurora Battle Princess Spark Lemon. So she is a great 2, very good one at that in my opinion. Rearguard Circle, when her attack hits anything, doesn't have to be just Vanguard, choose up to 2 unit cards from your opponent's drop zone and imprison them in your prison. So finally, imprisoning from drop zone is something we all waited for, and it's on hit anything. At first people thought she wouldn't be that good because she's only a 10k attacker, right? But of course it can get pretty annoying, especially even like an 18k line to a 10k is a 2 card guard. So it's a question of like, do I 2 card guard this against a rear guard or something, or do I let them hit and take 2 triggers from my drop zone into their prison, which I won't want to actually revive. So I heard from a lot of people's testing that she's been really good as well. I'm personally not testing anything for Festival's collection until it actually releases or until Springfest is over, because I don't want it to get in the way of my Springfest testing, but she's a very, very fantastic card for prison, and that is for sure. Then we have Twin Press Smasher. So this is another Brandgate card. Once per turn, rearguard circle ability, cost 1 and rest this unit to choose and put in front row rearguard and retire it. So this is a great 2, 10k power. It just doesn't feel like it fits into anything right now. This seems like it might be a card for a future ride line that might be coming out in the upcoming booster sets. Maybe that's a teaser that, Brandgate is getting a second ride line in the next booster set. And so it's like not a bad effect in general, but just doesn't mesh well at all with neither Orphis nor Prison. So for the time being, Then for Keter Sanctuary, we got the Harp Bow of Heavenly Music Alpheon. So he's a grade 3, and he says rearguard circle once per turn. If you have 3 or more grade 3 units, cost 1, he gets plus 5k power for that turn, and if you persona road this turn, also draw a card. This feels like a worse Olden, honestly, in every aspect. Olden's power stacks, every time he attacks because it's for that entire turn. He draws 2. It's like this card might still be played, I mean, purely because more draw cards never hurt. It's just that until you persona ride, this card is kind of a vanilla grade 3, because you don't really want to cost 1 for the 5k, because I think that's just not really worth it in most situations. So cost 1 for a draw is pretty good, but so I can see this card being run just because of that, but your deck is already pretty packed, right? Like, people are struggling to make space for all the different grade 3s they want to play, so we'll see if he does make the list or not. The other Keter Sanctuary card, which is actually quite good, is the Goru Dogaon. So he's a grade 2, 10k power, so that's already giving you an indication that this doesn't really fit into Bastion. When placed on rearguard circle, Soul Blast 1, and call a grade 1 from your hand to rearguard circle. Until end of turn, the unit called for this card's cost gets power plus 5k. Honestly, in Overdress, this feels like another, like, this doesn't really match with what Hexa Orb does, nor does it fit Bastion that well either. Like, honestly, right now this looks like a premium card simply because you can do some nasty things with it in Gold Paladin, right? Because in Gold Paladin, if you superior call it, you can use the skill to call another thing mid-battle phase. That's really, really cool. This could again be some kind of indication for a future ride line. Maybe it's gonna be more Gold Paladin themed and a bit more of that like top deck calling type stuff. So if it is, that's pretty cool. And then finally for Stoicheia, we got 2 cards as well. First one is Hydro Rail Dragon. Rearguard circle, when this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, retire this unit to return a grade 3 unit from your drop zone to your hand. This card, I honestly looked at this at first and went like, huh? But honestly, if you have space for it, which is the biggest question mark, right? If you have space for it in Zorga, it might not be too bad just to recycle Persona rides, because you still revive stuff next turn anyway, right? But in Magnolia, I think this is a bit too much of like a loss, right? Losing units from board kind of hurts even if you are recycling into a Persona ride, but you have to hit Vanguard, which is like it's probably not going to happen, right? You know, it's like Valiente hitting Vanguard. They're just going to guard it as much as possible. And then the other card they got is the Silver Horned Beast Kusui. So this is a very unique card. It is a grade 1 with 15,000 power, no shield whatsoever, which does have boost, and the effects that is continuous. This card cannot be ridden and can only be called to the center back row rearguard circle. So yes, it is a 15k booster, that's something. Or alternatively, Magnolia can turn into a 20k attacker, which is nice, but I think at most you're playing maybe like 1 or 2 copies of this. Like, it's a cool card, but it's pretty damn gimmicky. You can't guard with it. It can only be called to a specific like circle, not even column. It feels a little bit too clunky to be good in my opinion, but that's just my opinion on that one. I think Magnolia is a lot better than I initially thought as well, so I might be wrong on this take as well, but we'll see. Then there were a lot of zero reveals throughout the week, and so I don't really think we need to go through all of them, simply because you can actually join my Discord channel. There's a link in the description, and just go to the announcements tab and you can read through all the effects. You know, they got more seekers out there, like Sacred Wingle, you know, the Seeker grade 3 Wingle, you know, some of the support grade 2s, and like double rares. They showed the Tester Fox, which is of course the triple rare for Great Nature, and like kind of got nerfed, as well as its Legion and the other Great Nature supports. They showed the Batarel as well as the Malkadale, the 2 legions for Angel Feather as well. And of course Risers got their legion shown too, with the Ultimate Riser Mega Flare as well as the Phoenix Riser Drillwing. And then for brawlers, they actually showed both the Skybeat Dragon as well as the Shotgun Blow Dragon. So we got all the brawler stuff, and I will talk about the main brawler unit that they revealed today, which is of course the Big Bang Knuckle, but we'll get to the zero part a bit later because that one's going to be long. They showed a lot of stuff today. So yeah, if you want to check the cards that have been revealed throughout every single day, you know, as they said last week that they would, join the Discord, check out the announcement section. It's all up in there. All right, now some more token Rambo reveals. Initially, honestly, I was thinking of not even talking about these, but they finally brought out some pretty interesting effects today, including the OverTrigger, which is definitely a unique factor of this entire video. So we'll talk about them, but I'm really going to go through them quite quickly because so far I was never really much of an expert with token Rambo. You know, it's a fun little deck and it's cool to play against a good player with it, but if you want someone that really knows what they're talking about when it comes to token Rambo, I recommend you check out the Hokago Card Time channel, where they, you know, both members of that channel are friends of mine and they are pretty passionate about token Rambo, you know, in the card game in particular. So do check them out, but I will go through the effects here quickly. So first we have Higekiri. His effect is rearguard circle, guardian circle, continuous. If you have a unit with Hizamaru in your front row rearguard circle or your guardian circle, he gets plus 5k shield and plus 5k power. So 15k attacker or 10k shield, those are good, as we've seen from, you know, Bruce. And then the Hizamaru is a grade 2 as well, who also says rearguard circle, guardian circle. If you have a unit with Higekiri in your front row rearguard circle or your guardian circle, gets power plus 5k, shield plus 5k. So do you run 4 of each? I mean, they're like double rares and stuff, so I feel like maybe you run 4 of each of these and then just have like 15k beaters, 10k shields consistently. I guess it's fine. Then there was also a promo that came out, which is coming up in the upcoming monthly Bushiroad, which is the Moon Rabbit Witch Rubinia. So her skill is, she's a grade 2 with 10k power from Keter Sanctuary. When she's placed on rearguard circle, counterblast 1 and choose a card from your hand, put it into your soul, and then draw a card. So setting up soul feels quite Genesis-y, and so even if her effect isn't super fantastic, you know, for promos we don't want them to be super fantastic anymore after what we had last year, where, you know, promos were better than the cards in the booster sets. She looks nice, the art is cute, and it potentially hints at a new ride line being more soul based and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. All right, then another token Rambo card came out, which is the Kenshin Kagemitsu. So he's a grade 1, also a double rare, and says at the end of the battle this unit boosted, counterblast 1 and put him into the soul to draw a card, and he gives another unit plus 2k power. So far there's a lot of counterblast going on in here, and with the other cards we'll look at later, there's a lot more counterblast going, so I definitely hope to see a countercharger here sometime soon. Then of course the Sentinel, you can see right here, this will be the token Rambo rare. That's a Sentinel, you know, that like if you have 1 or less cards in hand when you use it, you don't have to discard. So, you know, it's just one of the new ones that every nation has. Then they showed the ride line for Kasen Kanesada. So they have the starter here. So as usual, if you go second when you ride upon it, then you draw an extra card. Then there's the grade 1, the Kasen Kanesada Sento. So when he's ridden upon by the Kasen Kanesada Toku, which is the grade 2, then you can give your Vanguard plus 10k power. So 20k beater on a Vanguard is actually pretty damn strong in my opinion. So I think that's actually quite good. And then during your turn on rearguard circle gets plus 2k power. So nothing too fantastic fantastic there. Then the grade 2 says, when he's rode upon by the grade 3, soul charge 1 and give a Vanguard plus 5k power. So more power building. And what is a power building for? Well, it's for Kasen Kanesada Kiwame. So the grade 3 says, cost soul blast 1, rest any number of your rear guards, and for each unit that you rest, he gets plus 5k power until end of turn. And then his second skill is, during the battle this unit attacked, if his power is 30k or higher, when your opponent would call cards from hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time. So it's basically a battle door effect, which is nice. It's pretty easy to set up as well, because realistically, when you write over the grade 2, he becomes 18, and then boost does go into it, so he's 26 with a boost from an 8k, and then basically you need to rest 1 unit to give him another 5k. So it's kind of like a DP mechanic, honestly, that like big power is kind of nice, but it's not really a DP thing that much anymore when a lot of decks can achieve 30k power columns pretty easily now. But I guess it's cool. That's kind of his thing, battle door. And then they revealed a bunch of triple rares that do really cool things and are all like pretty unique in the sense that they add something to the deck no matter which ride line you choose. So for example, Mikazuki Minechika here is a grade 2 that says Rigor Circle once per turn when he attacks, perform the effects below according to the number of cards in your damage zone, which is a really cool way to phrase effects. So if you have 3 or more damage, he gets plus 5k power for that turn. If you have 4 more damage, you look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or bottom. Then if you have 5 or more damage, so like Limit Break 5, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and stand this unit. So you can attack twice with that 5k gain that he got. You can of course attack with Vanguard first, put triggers on him, and get that restand. So he's like a 5 damage restricted tidal assault, which is pretty cool, and also does a bunch of other things. But this is pretty cool, and I hope they do this kind of thing in like just regular, you know, nations as well, of just saying like, yeah, depending on how much damage you have, you can do X or Y, and I think that's quite cool, although it does go back to how Token Rambo worked back in the day. Then we have Odenta Mitsuyo, so this is a grade 2, and he says Rigor Circle, when its units attack hits anything, including rear guards, if you Persona Road this turn, Counterblast 1 and heal a damage. That when I first read that, I was like, just like that, just CB1 and heal the damage that you counterblasted? That's pretty nuts. But of course, it needs to hit, and if it's giving you a heal, chances are you are not gonna let it hit ever. And of course, that alone is pretty good, right? You don't really need to treat this as a card that's gonna heal you. You treat this as a card that will get your opponent to guard against it no matter what, and you can use that to your advantage with your other attacks. Then we have the Juzumaru Tsunetsugu. So this card is a grade 2. Again, rear guard circle once per turn. Act Counterblast 1, rest this and one of your other rear guards, and then choose one of your opponent's units. It loses 5k power until end of the turn. And if you Persona Road this turn, then you stand all your rear guards. So he basically refunds the cost. So if you have 2 of him, you can do that twice to minus 10k on your opponent, basically playing Zeal, and then, you know, they restand themselves because you Persona Road that turn. So that's a pretty good effect as well. You know, as usual, these collab sets often throw in a bunch of different mechanics, which is pretty cool. Then we have the Onimaru Kunitsuna. So rear guard circle, this guy looks pretty cool too. When he attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, until end of the battle, he gets power plus 5k and critical plus 1, but at the end of the battle, he goes to the bottom of the deck. So like a Spike Brothers card basically, but Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 just like that to gain power and a crit. That's like Eden from Diablo's Bruce, but like in reverse in a way. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. And then they showed the OverTrigger, which is the Kashu Kiyomitsu Shinken Hisatsu. So Shinken Hisatsu is the actual OverTrigger, and then they have like different versions that you see here. So basically one for each of the different boys, I guess, or whatever, you know. I think these are like the starting swords. I'm not too sure. I never played Token Rambo, although apparently today the actual game came out in English, so that's pretty cool. So what does this OverTrigger do? Of course, as usual, it gives, you know, the 100 million, blah blah blah, and the additional effect when you drive check it is during this turn, all your units get critical plus 1. So it's kind of like the Brancate one, but it doesn't double. Instead, it just gives it's like a triple crit, right? And so when you have cards that are like restanding and stuff like that, that is pretty strong. However, this is not a regular OverTrigger. This is a trigger order, which is a brand new concept of cards. So we have order cards, you know, we had normal orders, blitz orders, and they added a third type, and this is basically a normal order but as a trigger, so it still goes into your limit of 16 triggers. And this says, when played as an order, you resolve this effect when played as an order, you choose one of your vanguards, and it gets critical plus 1 till end of the turn, and if you have 5 or more cards in your damage zone, all your units get power plus 10k. So you're giving up that 50k shield power for a massive damage burst as an order. Again, Bushiroad is literally showing the world that they are happy to explore whatever design space they want with OverDress, and I'm loving it. The fact that they're just exploring these ideas we've never seen before. I don't think anyone predicted that they would do trigger orders. You know, we asked for effect triggers and we definitely got them. I'll be happy to, you know, like change my draw triggers into, you know, like trigger order draw triggers that, you know, have effects instead of the 5k shield, because man, oh man, this is nuts. Like, this is really, really cool. The effect itself is like, it's fine, right? It's not super crazy. It's just fine. But the fact that now the concept of a trigger order exists is crazy. They also showed a bunch of promos, but I'm not going to go over those. You can check those out in announcements as well, because now I want to talk about the Monster Strike stuff. Actually, just before we talk about the Monster Strike stuff, there's one more very important thing in the TCG that they did reveal, which is, first things first, we're getting 3 new sleeve types. And I was on my walk this morning and I was like, damn, how do they not print Orphis sleeves yet or Zorga sleeves yet? Those are such cool looking cards. How can they not have done that? And there you go, they straight up went and announced it. Releasing on June 25th, which is the release of the second D-Series booster set. We're gonna have Vairina, Elgar, Orphis, and Zorga sleeves. So of course, boy oh boy, I'm very hyped for these Orphis sleeves. But even more hyped than that is that they heard our wishes. They are releasing Team Blackout sleeves, and they will be coming in both black version and white version. They'll be retailing for 924 yen, and you'll get 70 sleeves in one pack. These look absolutely amazing. A lot of people have praised this to be the best sleeve design that Bushiroad has ever made, and they just look so good. So they're releasing in what, a month? Basically 2 months at this point, but man, I am hyped for this. I'm definitely gonna be picking up a lot, probably at least like 5 copies of each, because I think I want to put this on a lot of different decks because they just look so damn clean. Also, if you would like to support me and my channel and my ability to open packs in Zero and bring you Zero content, or build decks in OverDress and bring you OverDress content, do consider subscribing, as apparently there's still a 35% of y'all that watch these videos that are not subscribed, and we are trying to reach that, you know, 45k mark to use Great Dayusha's skill. So with your powers combined, we can ride Great Dayusha in the middle of the battle phase, so we got to put our powers together and get to that 45k mark. For Monster Strike, they showed that in the trial decks there will be like SSR, like alternate art versions of the 2 main units, and these are original arts that only exist in Vanguard and do not exist in the actual mobile game just yet. On top of that, they showed off which units will be part of the ride lines for each trial deck. So we can see on the left here the one that is based around Excalibur. So this one is the more beginner friendly ride line. It has 8 front triggers in it, and it says in the explanation that it's more of a, you know, for somebody that just started Vanguard, it's an easy one to pick up. And the ride line is the Excalibur, the Mose, and the Amida, so the 3 units there. And then the one on the right is the ride line that is based around the Laplace, and so you can see the 3 units there as well. And this one, the trigger cards there will be 8 critical triggers, so this one is more critical trigger focused, and apparently it is more of a technical deck. So that's kind of how they describe the Magnolia and Seraph Snow decks as well, so it might have its own kind of like special gimmick. And of course the other triggers are, you know, 4 heals, 3 draws, and 1 overtrigger. Also, as a box purchase bonus, they said that they will be doing, in each box you will be able to get all 15 rares, you know, 1 of each per box, and there is in each box 1 perfect guard, which is the card you see there on the left. And so this one is once per box, like, as well. You get 1 perfect guard, which is the mana. And then also as a box topper, you'll be able to get promo cards, which is the ball forms. That's, you know, part of the actual Monster Strike, you know, gameplay, ball forms of certain cards. So this will be the PG that you see there on the left, and then the other cards are the triggers. So basically you'll get 1 of the 4 different triggers, you get 1 of them. And then they actually revealed the gimmick, which is going to be in the Monster Strike decks, which is the Gacha Ridora. So this card, boy oh boy, where do we start? Let's start with the Kintamago, the golden egg. So the golden egg is the starter, and it says that Vanguard Circle, when you stand up, so literally when you start the game, you know, stand up Vanguard, you become a striker, which I think is the terminology for a player in Monster Strike. So you become a striker, and then it says in brackets, when you become a striker, you choose a Gacha Ridora from your ride deck and put it into the order zone, and then get a monster box. So it sounds like all kinds of gibberish, so let's break it down. The Gacha Ridora is a set order, and it does go into your ride deck. And so exceptionally for Monster Strike, the ride deck is 5 cards instead of 4. So it's still the grade 0, 1, 2, 3, but on top of that, you also have this set order that goes into your ride deck, so you get a 5th card basically. But the deck count is still 50, right? So it does not change from that. The deck count is still 50, it's just that you'll have 1 card less in the main deck. So the Gacha Ridora's effect Act is a set order that is a grade 0, and it says after a set order is played, put it into your order zone. Act order zone. You can rest this card to put the top card of your deck face up to your monster box, and I'll explain what the monster box does in a bit. And then it has another effect which says order zone once per fight. If yours and your opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater, so basically like stride conditions, you can counterblast 2 and rest this card to put the top 10 cards from your deck face up to your monster box, then choose up to 3 cards in your monster box and call them to your rearguard circles. So this is a 10-part gacha roll. You know, the gacha ridora is the actual gacha mechanic. You know, when you pull the gacha, you pull from that gacha ridora, it opens its mouth and like the balls like fly out. That sounds kind of weird, but you know, that's the entire mechanic of Monster Strike in general. And so you basically get to do a 10-part gacha roll once per game, which is crazy to think about. Now the monster box is basically like a token sort of that you just like get and like put on the field somewhere, and it says as long as you have a monster box, you can do the following, which is once during your main phase you can choose a card in your hand and exchange it with a card in your monster box that is the same grade as that card. So you can choose a grade 1 from your hand and exchange it with something in your monster box. And keep in mind that you can rest the gacha ridora once per turn to put the top card of your deck into the monster box. So you can always like, you know, you put a, I don't know, perfect guard, you can exchange it. You put a trigger, whatever, you'll take it, right? Because it's a huge shield. So it's basically like you pull a single gacha every single turn, and then once per game you can pull a 10-part gacha and then call a bunch of those cards out and then just exchange for the rest of them once per turn as well. So it is a very, very interesting and unique mechanic, and I'm pretty curious to see how this deck is going to look, because it sounds like it's going to probably have like a bunch of random one-of like powerful effects, and you can just like jam your deck full of powerful allies. I'm just curious how this is going to look. Honestly, it's pretty damn crazy, and it was just overwhelming to get all this information honestly in this stream, and I really hope this comes to English at this point, right? You know, I think at this point, just because of this collab and because of the way these cards look, I'm probably going to try out the game itself as well, the actual, you know, gacha game in Japanese, because it seems fun. All right, that's it for TCG stuff. Now let's get on to the big Zero announcement, because it's related to the TCG stuff, because there is a new event type coming. And before we talk about the new event type, let's just blow through everything else that's been announced, right? We talked about the card reveals earlier. They're doing a campaign where you can get 1 free Thing Saver. I think that people need to do like, I think we need 400,000 people to Legion, so to literally like use the Legion skill 400,000 times, you know, for the entire player base, and we get a free Thing Saver dragon, which is really, really nice. Of course, the Legion Mage story is being added as well, so you can see the visuals. These will probably become fight skins later on as well. In terms of cards, we got the 2 brawlers. So we got Brawler Big Bang / Dragon, who basically says when your Brawler Bang's attack hits for that turn, this unit gains plus 3k. So as you all know, this gets to really huge power if you played it in the TCG. And of course, the grade 3 that it legions with is Brawler Big Bang Knuckle Dragon, and it says if in Legion state, counterblast 2 to get power plus 5k, and the following effect: Vanguard Circle, this unit attacks all of your opponent's front row units in 1 battle. So basically a Vermilion that only gets better when the Crossfight comes out in future sets, but it's already really good. Of course, procs that grade 2 multiple times, and he also gets plus 2k when he attacks the Vanguard, which is very nice. On top of that, they showed the new rank reward, which is going to be the Blaster Blade Seeker, so that's definitely very, very nice. You know, being able to get that already is just really cool. We saw the exclusive art just earlier, so the Thing Saver should become a rank reward eventually. They're also doing a countdown event where for the next 3 days, you know, leading up to the release of Legion in Zero, they're going to be actually giving us a free pack every day for the upcoming set, so that's going to be very nice as well. And finally, before we get into the new event, they are also doing some special things for the Legion set coming out as well. So there are 3 points. The first point is that when you pull on this new set, you know, the first Legion set, whenever you pull the Legion leader, you will automatically get the Legion mate in your present box. So the actual grade 2s that Legion with the grade 3 aren't in the gacha. So it appears that they can be crafted, but they're not actually pullable. You cannot pull them at all. And so instead, you have to pull the Legion leader, so the actual, like, you know, grade 3 card like Thing Saver, and then so when you pull Thing Saver, you'll automatically get Blaster Blade Seeker in your present box. So a lot of us were panicking, right? We saw so many triples, so many doubles, like, oh my god, what is happening? And then turns out that we're just getting the like accompanying grade 2s just like that, and that's actually amazing. I hope that they keep that up for future releases as well, because that's like such a good thing, right? Everyone thought this set would be loaded with triple rares, but instead it's like, oh, you pull the Wingold Seeker, you get Blaster Blade. You pull pull Thing Saver, you get Blaster Blade. You know, you pull like Yggdrasil or something, you get Norn. And so it's a very good move. That means like Aglo Veils will be easy to achieve, and like, you know, they can make these cards triple rares because you get them for free. So that's really nice. They also said that if you pull the SP version of the actual grade 3 Legion leader, you'll get the SP version of the Legion mate as well. So I'm getting really excited for Saturday when I can open these packs on my Twitch channel, which is going to be happening probably in the morning European time on May 1st. The other point they said is that every time you pull on the new gacha, you'll be getting both the regular V medals as well as the Legion medals. And so for 50 Legion medals, you can trade for a triple rare guaranteed ticket for the new set, or for 10 medals, you can trade for just a regular ticket, a regular pack for the new set specifically. And also apparently some of these new cards in the Legion set will function as boost cards that maybe give you more points in this new event that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. All right, so Imaginary Tower, the new event that they revealed. Boy, oh boy, they showed this visual and everyone lost their shit. Look how much is going on here, right? You have on the left the actual event, you know, it's a tower climb format. It says rank, points, it's team based, it's literally Guild War from Grand Blue Fantasy maybe. And so they are doing this as an OverDress collab. So basically this is to promote Vanguard OverDress beginning, you know, the new anime, the new series and everything, and to celebrate their basically giving out overdress cards as rewards. So I'll talk about the event in a bit, but let's actually talk about these cards that they're adding, right? So they're adding Trickstar, which has Resist, as well as the Sunrise Egg, which says at the start of your ride phase, return a grade 1 card from your hand to your deck to ride a Blaze Maiden Reno from your deck. If you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. And then in the Soul, when you would ride Nirvana, which is a grade 3, you can remove this card and call Trickstar from outside of your deck. So Trickstar just gets called out just like that. And these cards can be put into any Dragon Empire clan deck. So Murakumo, Narukami, Kagero, it's all fair game. Then of course the grade 1 and 2, we have Rino, who says at the start of your ride phase, if Sunrise Egg is in your soul, return a grade 2 from your hand to your deck to ride Blaze Maiden Deyu from your deck. If you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. And then front row Rearguard Circle, during your turn, if your Vanguard is Nirvana, she's a 10k attacker. Or sorry, 9k attacker. Their power is down to 7 here. And then the grade 2 says that Deyu, at the start of your ride phase, if Sunrise Egg is in your soul, return a grade 3 from your hand to your deck to ride Nirvana from your deck, and if you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. During your turn, if your Vanguard is Nirvana, this unit gets power plus 2k, so that's another, you know, 11k attacker there. But this is basically the ride deck in 0. They're adding the ride deck to 0 to all Dragon Empire clans. Imagine of the crazy combos you can do with all this. And don't forget, first of course we have Vairina. So Vairina of course is the overdress card. It's 9k in 0, and it says overdress onto Trickstar, just like that. And then Rearguard Circle, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it is in overdress, counterblast 1 to retire one of your opponent's grade 1 or greater rearguards. And during your turn, if this unit is in overdress, it gets power plus 5k. For the 0 folks that aren't playing TCG, I don't know why, but if you don't know what overdress is, they actually explained it. Overdress works the exact same way as a TCG. You basically get this little pop-up when you click on the Vairina card to overdress it over the Trickstar. So it's basically like riding on a rearguard circle, so you place it on top of the Trickstar and it becomes overdress state. And then of course Chakrabarti Divine Dragon Nirvana is in 0 as well, 11k power, and a triple rare as well, has Persona Ride, which says when you normal ride a Vanguard with the same name as this unit, draw a card, and this unit gets power plus 5k, so until end of turn. And of course in the TCG it's a lot more powerful than that. It gives plus 10k to the front row, but it's still like the extra draw here is very, very great. And Vanguard Circle counterblast 1 and discard a card from hand to call a Trickstar from your drop zone, so you do get to revive Trickstars just like in the TCG. And then once per turn, counterblast 1 to have this unit and all your units with overdress get power plus 3k until end of turn. So this is a downscaled imitation of the Nirvana and Vairina ride line from overdress, and all these cards can be played in any Dragon Empire deck, right? You can play this in Kagero, you can play this in Murakumo, and clone Nirvanas with the break ride to have all these Persona rides for future turns. It's just so exciting. I'm so glad they did this. And so in terms of prices, they put it up actually in the app. So Nirvana is going to cost 10,000 of those tower medals, so we don't know how hard or easy it will be to achieve them. Then the Vairina is 2,000. The Ryu, Rino, Sunrise Egg are all 400 tower medals, and then there's sleeves of each of the units, which are all 1,000 tower medals each. And then there's also rewards for your ranking. So it's important to note here that this is not them skipping forward to overdress in 0 or anything. This is just a promotion for the actual new series, right? They're not going to skip Legion, skip G, etc. They're still going going to do those, obviously, because even Chrono's voice actor said that he's already recorded lines for Chrono in Zero. But this is just a really cool way to promote OverDress, and I really hope they do this for the remaining ride lines from the starter decks at the very least. So essentially, like, this event is running from the 1st to the 11th of May, but the general rundown is that, like, Takuto, I don't know, like, puts everyone in a VR world or something with some, like, VR program, and I don't know, you just get taken to, you know, Sword Art Online or whatever, and you have to fight against AI fighters, and I guess you get points from that to get those tower medals from beating them, and then you can exchange for those cards. So that's basically the whole thing, right? You grind by beating up those AI, you get medals, exchange for cards, and then, depending on how many medals your team got in Zero, right, you have to participate with a team, and you cannot leave a team and join a new one once the event starts. So make sure you join teams on JP now. So you get different, like, rewards, like you have like top 100 like emblems, top 50, top 10, then 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and the top 10 places get 10 packs of the new set each, as well as 50 skip tickets. I wonder what that's for. And there will also be a login bonus for it, and like all kinds of like missions. So it's gonna be really, really hype. Like, this event looks really fresh. I've been asking for some kind of team-based event all this time, and I'm glad they finally pulled through. On top of that, like, getting these cool as hell overdress cards is so hype. Like, everyone's hype for overdress is like sky high, so I think that's a really good call as well because of it coming out in English right now too. Final bit of news is, of course, the Vanguard, the big Vanguard festival, had to be cancelled or converted into an online format because of the new state of emergency in Tokyo. And so for Zero, the changes are just that they're doing like a special thing where you have to, like, you know, do friend fights every day, and then you get these medals that you can exchange for different sleeves. So you can kind of see here, like, there's different sleeves of all the characters in their special artwork, also icons. So yeah, and there's different like missions and whatnot, so it's a pretty nice thing. There's also all the merch that you can now order on the Bushiroad EC shop, so I'll leave a link in the description. You can use a forwarding service like Tenso or from Japan to order it. All right, I think that's it. This didn't take as long as I had been afraid that it would, but I had to really fly over everything and skip quite a few cards for Zero that I would have normally liked to take a look at. But boy, oh boy, is it a lot. So once May 1st comes, you know, this Saturday, it's going to be lots of hype for Zero. You know, they did such a nice thing with the gacha as well. The fact that you get the Legion mate by just pulling the Legion leader, you know, it makes opening packs much more exciting as well, knowing that you don't need to, like, you know, gacha away for the grade 2s, which is really, really nasty. So I'm so glad that they did that. And, you know, they also said that, like, yeah, we're like focusing on the collabs for like this week and last week, and there's going to be lots of like presentations like next week, and then in 2 weeks they have the Bushiroad TCG presentation. But they said that in May we're mostly going to be looking at card reveals for the second booster set of overdress, so you can look forward to that as well. And speaking of overdress products, if you need to pick up anything, parkage.com, discount code DifferentFight, you know the drill. And yeah, honestly, that's basically it for today. There was so much to talk about, and I'm glad I got through it without hitting the hour mark, honestly. So I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and I'll catch you guys next time. So take it easy. Peace.